So today we are going to talk about running your own business.
Yeah, you can't, there's no way you can do this talking quietly, okay?
I'll do my best.
We need like a catchy intro, you know, like on Cog Hill, they got like this other voice over intro because it's a real podcast.
How about,
we're just like a fake show here, so.
how about, come on, goats.
Come on, goats. Come on, goats.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
This is what we're going to call, is that what we're going to really call our show? Come on, goats podcast.
Yeah. I'm going to make a shirt. I am. That's what I was going to say.
Are you going to mute the TV completely?
Oh, I will. Yeah, sorry. Brooks is sleeping.
So
Jeez.
You can't talk like there's a sleeping baby in the room.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Why are you whispering?
I was just saying, I've got a mic. They can hear me.
But it's obvious when you're talking like this.
Shut up.
Stop.
I'm not. Okay, go.
Nope, it's your podcast. I'm here for moral and emotional support.
Okay. That's not 100% true, but whatever. So today we are going to talk about running your own business.
Home business.
Home business, yeah. Not necessarily, I mean, they started out as side hustles, I guess. Or at least my photography did. And then it was more of a hobby. But then we'll also talk about the t-shirt stuff.
Okay.
Merch stuff.
So DJ's podcast number 3. We haven't quit yet. We're going to cover starting a home business, running a home business versus, you know, normal jobs, I guess.
Yeah. Apparently, according to our friends, we don't have those. So, we used to.
We have a lot of jobs, just not normal jobs.
Yeah. Okay. So, where do you want to start? Gosh, I don't know which one we start with. So I'll start with photography. I got a lot of emails asking about how I got started. A lot of questions about photography. I'm not gonna like go into details on how to take pictures and what to take pictures with. That's not what I'm doing here.
You know what I mean? We're not gonna talk about like aperture, ISO, shutter speed, white balance.
Yeah, no. I
was shooting full auto. That's what I do.
I mean, I started there, but that is not where I am currently. But, I don't know. My Grams used to always take pictures, and I just fell in love with it too. I started on a good old 35 millimeter with her camera and just took pictures of everything. And then as I had kids, obviously I took pictures of them all the time.
I bought your first digital camera for you.
You did. Yes, you did. It was great.
First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth,
whatever.
10th, probably.
No. No, I think I've only had like 4. Like that first one you gave me, and then obviously upgraded, and then I upgraded again. So anyway, I would say I really started doing stuff for money, just a little bit of money, when Weston was, I don't know, Houston's age, for baseball team pictures and things like that. And
Team Mom. Taking all the little
momtographer
pictures that everybody has hanging on the wall that's got like the
memory mate.
Memory mate that's got your kid's picture and a team picture. That's where DJ started in photography, as far as not professional, but getting paid.
Yeah.
Side hustle.
And I would make books for them at the end of the year. Like I take, you know, action shots the whole time. And I still do that for a lot of the kids. Like there's a senior this year, and I've literally taken his pictures since he was 8 probably.
Yeah.
So it's super cool.
Like a personalized yearbook almost.
Yes. Yeah. Just of all their athletic events or homecomings, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so it just started kind of from there, and it just kind of grew up more and more. And then I guess in 2017, 18, I decided to go like legit full time.
I want to interrupt.
Yeah.
So she was a stay-at-home mom for 9 years, 8, 9 years,
right
something like
years,
that.
Yeah.
Close to 10 years. And then she come to me and was like, I'm going to go back to work. I got a job. I want to go back to work because I'm tired of being at home. I need a real job. I need to get out of the house. Yeah. I was like, yes, that sounds great.
No, you weren't. No, he wasn't.
So she went back to work.
Excited about
and after less than a year, I couldn't stand it. I hated it.
Yeah.
I hated it because I was so used to her being home. I was so used to you being here. And, you know, when it come to kids' sports and kids' events and things, it was tough because I was working shift work. And I would have to take off work to try to make it to certain games. And then you'd come to certain games and we were always going different directions.
Yeah, we were rarely home at the same time.
Right. And we were so used to, for 10 years, working together. Not, I mean, like just being together when I was off work and stuff and during the day. And then you went back to work and making $10 an hour with a college degree.
Yeah.
You were making $10 an hour, but you were working with your best friend. It was a good job.
That was the perk. Yeah. She asked me to come to work and help and, cause they were short and I loved the work that I did. It was super fun and getting to work with her every day. But then my picture stuff just kind of...
By best friend, we mean Jill that was putting pajamas on goats that was rocking around going,
yeah,
come on, goats. She makes fun of me all the time.
I want to throw this out there. She is actually the one that came up with the name, created the name Donkey Poodles. We were actually going, I had texted her one day and was like, we're going to go look at some alpacas. And she was like, oh my God, DJ, you don't need alpacas. Like, no, why? And I was like, it'll be fun. And she was like, okay. And then I sent her a snap with me and an alpaca while we were over there. And she was like, oh my God, they look like donkey poodles. And it just stuck. Yeah.
Now we're the Donkey Poodle Ranch.
Yeah. And she's currently waiting on her royalty check.
Yeah. Now she wants us to sell t-shirts that say,
come on, goats.
Come on, goats. With one goat on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, goats.
I'm like, come on, goats. So anyway, yeah, I worked with her for about a year. And during that time, my photography just started doing more. And I went to some trainings. And anyway, it was just kind of opened me up to a lot more. And I just decided to go for it. And
I pushed her out the door.
God
pulled her back in the door.
Yeah. And God definitely opened a lot of doors, like crazy timing of stuff. I got a studio that's the perfect spot. And, you know, I don't have to be there all the time because, you know, photography generally is by appointment only. And so I don't have to be there all the time. And it's been such a blessing getting to meet new people. But I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that people don't always talk about when you're trying to start and run your own business and grow it. And it is not fun all the time. Actually, I would say it's rarely fun in the beginning. Not the shoots, and I'm not talking about meeting the new people with that side of it. I'm talking about the behind the scenes stuff, the business, the marketing, the money you have to put into it that nobody sees. They just think you literally walk out there and take a picture and then bam, they have it on their phone or
you go to Walmart and you put the film in a little envelope and then they come back 3 days later and then you just show them the pictures, right?
No. Oh. No, that is not how that works.
That's how I used to take pictures. You go buy the disposable.
Oh, well,
click,
yeah.
Click,
I feel like a lot of us 90s children did that. But anyway, it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of stress. What's going to work for my area is not going to work for someone else's area. Who you want as your ideal clients, just like the list goes on. And it was really hard. And another thing that was hard for me in the very beginning was, you know, kind of getting your feelings hurt sometimes when people you thought would hire you don't. Hire people from out of town or whatever, you know, to do whatever pictures. And then it just really, I had a couple moments and was like, you know what, I'm fine with that. You know, a lot of praying, and I'm not for everyone.
You're for me.
I'm for you. I'm not for everyone, whether it's to be my friend or to hire me to do pictures or whatever. And that's okay. That is 100% okay, because not...
Is this podcast about business, starting a small business, or is it about life?
I mean, it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
I mean...
I'm with you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Do you want to...
No, you're doing great.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. You can interrupt in a minute. It's fine. Anyway, so that's... I've lost my train of thought now that I got off. What was I saying? Oh, I'm not for everyone. And...
You're for me.
For you, yeah. And that's okay. You know, there are electricians all over the place, and one may not be for another one. Thank you for that, Gemma.
Yeah, Gemma's playing with a squeaky toy right
here
in front
you
of
were
us.
worried about the napping baby, and it's a dog. Anyway, distractions. We try to limit them, but, you know, life. And don't say anything.
I'm not.
Fight the urge.
I'm not. I'm quiet.
So where was I at again?
You're not for everyone.
Yeah.
We've discussed that.
But I had said, we're going to have to...
I didn't distract you.
Anyway, so back to what I was saying. All the ways of getting your business to grow, and...
You actually were talking about, there's all kinds of different electricians. There's people,
yeah.
They're not for everyone.
Yes,
you
that's
can
what
hire
it was.
multiple different people for the same job.
Yeah, and I think you just have to know that, well, for me, I just believe God's going to put the people in front of me that need to be there, that are supposed to be there. And usually during almost every shoot that I have, you know, I get to talk about my faith some way, shape, or another. I became really good friends with a lot of people that I didn't know going into a session. And it's super cool getting to see who God puts in front of you for whatever reasons. And that's my favorite part of my pictures. Obviously, I love doing it, but sometimes it is hard, and there are seasons and of being busy and not being busy, and the busy times can be overwhelming because there is so much editing in the back end.
Would you
of
believe
it.
that everybody wants their family pictures done in like the last week of November, first week of December, because they're in a panic because they don't have Christmas cards?
Yeah, it's
Everybody,
crazy. Yeah,
like everyone. It's unanimous. Like everybody's
Yes.
like, about November 15th.
yes,
It's like, I gotta have pictures today, right now. Come on, when can we do it? And you're like,
Yeah.
it's raining outside. I don't care.
Actually,
Meet me in the park.
Yeah, I actually had someone this year literally message me 3 days before Christmas asking me to do a shoot for them 2 days before Christmas. Like the next day, within like 48 hours. And I'm like, sorry guys. Love you. Sorry. Should have planned better. I got a lot to do in the next 2 days, you know. So sometimes that stuff happens too. And I will say, dealing with the public is extremely challenging sometimes. I mean, we know that obviously from the YouTube channel.
In 14 years in law enforcement.
Yes. I mean, we've got lots of stories. We probably won't share those.
Yeah.
But
And it's sometimes it's tough being from a small town and starting a small business in a small town where you grew up, or you didn't grow up here, but you've been here for been here 20 something years, so it's a town of about 5,000 people. And sometimes there are people that really let you down, like you said, and people that you think want to be you want them, they want to, business, so this is going to work, and then they don't pay you.
That has happened. And since those times have happened, you implement and learn new policies. You pay in advance. You do things, so that your time is not wasted. My time is just as valuable for pictures as, his was being a trooper or someone's is being an electrician. Just because I'm a photographer, I feel like it gets downplayed.
Well, people don't see the backside of
Right.
it. Their photography session may only last 30 minutes, but then I have to deal with all of the time you spend at home on the computer editing that they don't see.
Right.
You know what I mean? I say I deal with it. I'm just joking, but there's probably 4 to 5 more times behind the scenes that people don't see.
Sure, 100%.
Than you know, the walking out there and taking the pictures fast. That doesn't take long at all. They're dressed up and pretty, and you wait for the right day and the right lighting, and it works in 30 minutes. And then you come home for 3 hours of trying to make them look right.
Yes. Yeah. Now, with all that being said, I would not change it for anything. It is very, very rewarding. And I love walking in people's houses, or people sending me pictures of, you know, a picture of them that I've taken and it's on their wall. And, you know, my return clients, obviously I love meeting new people, but my return clients, I love them. I always look forward to getting to meet up and catch up, because life happens and we don't, you know, may not see or talk to each other all the time. And anyway, it's just, I just love what I do, and I feel like God gives all of us a gift, one way, shape, or form, whether it's through speaking or pictures or just being, apparently I'm using electrician as my word today. But I mean, I think...
You're thinking about Matt Beasley, aren't you? He's your favorite electrician.
Oh my gosh.
He's your electrician. He's never done work for us, but he's your favorite electrician, isn't he?
I mean, he is just a turd.
And you do pictures fun. For him all the time, so...
Yeah. So, anyway, I just lost my train of thought again. Squirrel.
I will say this, though. Starting your own business is so much more rewarding than going to work for someone else.
Absolutely.
You know, I was a trooper for 14 years, and part of the reason I went to work as a trooper and went to work for the state was because I struggled with the thought of, and I don't mean this against anybody, but for me personally, I struggled with the thought of, okay, I had a hard time going out and getting a job where I worked for someone else's business, and when I worked, it made them money. So I worked for the state because the state's broke and we're not making the state a bunch of money. But for real though, like I struggled with that thought of, and it wasn't, maybe it was just me being selfish or immature, but when I was younger, I had a hard time like, okay, I don't want to go work for someone else's business for 30 years and then they make more money than I do. I know that sounds terrible. It's when you say it out loud like that, but you're ultimately working for someone else's dream. Mm-hmm. So starting your own business, you're fulfilling your own dreams, and you get out of it so much more than working for someone else.
Right.
And I fulfilled a lot of that working through the state with my side hustles and my part-time stuff, whether it was mowing lawns or, you know, doing different things. And then the YouTube channel kind of evolved. And that for me, I was able to fulfill that working for myself dream, I guess.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where you've gone through with the photography business versus, you know, going out and just working at a bank or something like you did before.
Yeah, and I loved banking. I mean, that's really, you know, I said I'd gone to college, graduated. I didn't go for accounting. I probably should have in hindsight, 100%, because I love that. But, you know, at the time I had Weston and he was little bitty, and I wanted a career that would work for he and I. And I loved sports. I loved being around kids. And so teaching and coaching was where I wanted to go, or at least I thought, you know, until I got to my student teaching and was like, oh, should have done this 3 years ago. Should have done the student teaching 3 years ago to know for sure. But, you know, by that time, you know, I pretty much had my degree. And so I wish, I'm not going to say I wish I'd have done something different, but I was going to just do banking. And so I never taught. I went straight into banking. And then we decided, you know, to start the rest of our family. And so I stayed home. And I did all of our banking and our accounting and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, trust me.
Yes, I did. He's rolling his eyes because I don't like to spend money, and he does.
Dave Ramsey even says every relationship has a spender and a saver.
Yeah, I was definitely the saver. So, pause. Where were we? Where were we at?
You're being very distracted because Brooks is waking up over here.
She's moving. She's wiggling.
Yeah.
I have this urge to go hold her.
Well, you're in the middle of a podcast.
Yes.
Video.
She'll come to me in a minute.
Yep.
So,
I don't know where you were at, honestly, but you were kind of wrapping up, I felt like,
Yeah.
you know, your photography side of the story. And starting your own business as a photographer comes with so many struggles, especially in a small town. There's just so much to learn in starting any small business, whether you're going out and building fence for somebody or taking pictures or whatever your small business is. If you're dealing with the public, there's a huge learning curve there.
Yeah, 100%. But I am here to tell you to stick to it.
It's worth it.
It's worth it. Working for yourself does not compare. It just doesn't compare to anything. I mean, we've both worked for, you know, businesses and companies, and it just does not compare. The freedom alone is just worth it. Whether you make, you know, $100 a week, or, I mean, obviously I know you have to live. That's not what I'm saying. But, you know, that's where I was a while ago. God gives us gifts, and I just feel like, you know, teaching is for some people, and this is for me. And I feel like Daniel has a couple of gifts, whatever. I don't know. No, you don't know?
Couple.
Yeah, you got a couple. I feel like I have more than one, but, you know. I think you need to listen to it and follow it. And that kind of leads us into the merch.
Yeah. So we're not going to cover the whole YouTube business,
No.
whole YouTube, Facebook video creation business. We're talking about actual tangible businesses that people understand. And I feel like the second big move that we've made as far as a home business is our merchandise. And not talking about the Yee merch.
Well, we will talk about him, though.
Well, yeah,
I'm talking
about our stuff,
our stuff.
with Arms Family Homestead stuff and Creek Life, and it's evolved into so much. Brooks is staring at me.
You can come here.
So, you know, we started off selling T-shirts. I mean, a lot of YouTube channels do merch. We started off doing like the drop ship websites, Bonfire, and then we found another company that we thought was just going to be the end-all be-all that makes all the merch for all the Guggen Squad guys and Deer Meat for Dinner and all these big, huge channels, Jigging with Jordan. It was fine, but it was still like there was no us. We weren't even involved in it. Like we had to buy our own T-shirts to show them on the channel. Like I had to pay for them, which didn't really make sense to me. They wouldn't even give me free samples, but basically they were making
70% and we were making 30%.
Yes, but they were handling all of the all the inventory, making the shirts, fulfillment, shipping, everything. We just got a 30% cut. But there was it didn't feel like it was our business.
Yeah, it wasn't personable at all. Like we really didn't even get to help with the designs. I mean, it was just...
Yeah, it was just...
And it was short. I mean, we didn't use them for very long.
Less than a year, probably.
Yeah, I was going to say less.
But this lovely lady, after a long time, decided, she kept saying, we need to do our own. We need to do our own. We need to make our own shirts. And I just felt like we didn't have the time for it because I was still working full time.
Right.
And she was like, I think we can do it. I think we can do it. And I put it off for as long as I could, really, until after I quit my job, and then which freed up a lot of time. And she kept on me and saying we need to start our own T-shirt stuff. We need to do our own. And we got this idea, or we talked about it for months, really. And she wanted to do it in our garage. Well, the garage here, I'm not talking about my big new shop.
Not the shop.
I'm talking about the garage that's where my parents lived while they were building this house. It's one room, 30 by 24 by 30, but it was like pretty rough shape.
It was.
It was in pretty rough shape.
It was.
And so we got this idea, okay, if we're going to start a business, it needs to have a home. It needs to have its spot. And we need a storyline to go with it. So that's something like, for me personally on YouTube, I feel like we go out and create 1,000 videos, but if there's no story, it's not going to work. It's not going to get views. That people aren't going to tie into it. They're not going to buy into it. And we wanted the merch thing to be, hey, this is what we're doing. This is our business. We're starting this. We're creating this. Here's our little egg, and we're going to incubate it and hatch it, and it's going to turn it, hopefully grow into something. And so we started this whole process of like we vlogged the whole thing. I mean,
a
lot of you guys probably saw it. I mean, we did videos like cleaning the garage floor.
Yeah, a bunch of our friends were like, text us and be like, I literally just watched y'all mop the garage.
But we had this whole storyline of remodeling this garage that was, you know, like I said, where my parents lived while they built this house. And it was, we were building a storyline over a couple month period. And I mean, there was one video I did, sitting out there in the garage talking about pictures I had of like my dad and uncles in that garage with all these fish. And I'd gone over to my uncles and I was telling this story and I shot a video and I'm sitting out in the garage crying
video.
You know, because it was just kind of emotional. It hit me. Every time I talk about my dad, it's an emotional thing for me, really, I guess. But it was just building the story. And I felt like that was important because we bring you guys into our life through this channel, through these videos. And we wanted you guys to understand we're not just trying to push a bunch of stuff on you. No,
it's the story.
And we wanted you guys to be a part of it as our viewers, as our followers, and not just, oh, go buy our merch. And so we made this whole storyline, and DJ started buying all the equipment to do the heat press transfers and learning the whole process and trying to figure out what we were going to do. And when we launched, we had gone out, we were planning on making most of our stuff ourselves, but we wanted a bunch of inventory. What we thought was a bunch of inventory.
We had 243 pieces.
Made by someone else, made by a friend.
Just to have in advance to give me time to, you know, make stuff.
Yeah, just to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, and we thought we had way too much.
Yeah, way too much. And we launched on like November 15th of 2020.
Yeah.
So right before Christmas, which is a crazy chaos time. But we thought, well, we got 200 and something pieces of inventory here between adults and kids and youth and hoodies and t-shirts. Oh, we're good. That sold in like most all of that inventory sold in the first couple days.
Yeah, it was gone. And so there's a little button in there on Shopify where you can click and it will keep selling even when you're out of stock.
Yes. Sounds great, because the biggest problem is you got all these different sizes and all these different designs. You're like, okay, we got all the transfers. We can make all this stuff. So if it only shows there's 7 or 8 or 10 of each size, well, they sell out quick and then people are gone. They won't come back. Click that little button that says continue selling when out of stock. We'll just catch up.
We barely caught up. It was hairy for a while. Because we left that on, we got in this cycle of, or I was in the cycle of having to order the actual sweatshirts, t-shirts, and the transfers because, you know, I didn't think I was going to need that many. Well, with the transfers, it's like sometimes a 10-day deal, especially being that close to Christmas. It was about 10 days before we could get new transfers in. So then I was essentially paying extra for expedited, you know, printing and expedited shipping, and then I could get the merch in, you know, within 2 or 3 days, but then a lot of the sizes were out of stock because it was Christmas, and it was just, oh my gosh, it was just absolute chaos. And like, we would have our family come over in the evenings, and when they got off work, they would come here and we would eat pizza and work in the garage till midnight.
It was so much fun though.
It was
for about a month and a half, right after we launched, like, her mom and dad and Dusty, Marissa sometimes, Katie, Weston, whoever we could get. But typically it was your mom and Kevin were here in the evenings. Like, they'd get off work, go do their chores, feed, and they'd come down here and we'd start working, and we'd work until midnight or later sometimes. And we have this, Shopify has this little feature that when you get a sale, it dings. It's cha-ching, cha-ching. And we'd be in the shop, and I'd do like an Instagram story or a Facebook story or a post and say, hey, we got these new t-shirts, this new design, we're printing them right now. And we would be heat pressing. And I would do that, and within 15, 20 minutes, it was like, ding, ding, ding. Like, we'd get 15, 20 more orders. So there were days we'd go to the shop when they got here, we'd be 150 orders behind.
Yeah.
And the shirts weren't even made yet.
Yeah. So I was spending a lot of the day making stuff, and Anyway, and then of course that was basketball season. So Emily had games, Weston, Katie, and it was just, and plus, you know, it was just a wild ride.
It was.
And so not long after that, or actually, let's back up. While we're in there, we have a TV in there or a speaker, and we always had music playing. But this one particular night, the TV was on, and we had turned on YouTube country videos or whatever, and Granger's videos were on. Like,
well, I might have had a playlist turned on.
Well, still, there were sometimes your list wasn't on, but anyway, his video it was just, I don't know, one of those God things, I feel like, and we're in there slaving away, and Granger sends him a message.
Well, I looked down at my phone, and
Yeah.
you know, like Messenger, Instagram Messenger pops up, and it said something about Granger Smith on my screen on my phone, and I was like, well, we're listening to Granger. It didn't dawn on me. I was just thinking playlist on my phone, and then it hit me. I just got a message from Granger Smith.
Yeah. Like everybody stopped. We stopped what we were doing, and we were like,
we listen to Granger music a lot, you know.
Yeah.
We were big fans of their YouTube channel and music, and it was just kind of like, what's going on here?
Yeah. And so they got to chatting, and long story short, I mean, they've been friends ever since, and Granger hooked us up with his merch company that he uses that designs most of his stuff. And he was super gracious to help us because
not just Granger.
No, his
brothers are so, I mean, they're such a huge part in their business. And if you're not familiar with Granger, go check out his music. But Yee Apparel, it's a merchandise company they started between the three brothers. And it's, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of their business, but it's easily a multi-million-dollar business. I mean, they have a huge warehouse and tons of employees.
Yeah.
So to be able to reach out to them and go, hey, we need some help. Most people would say,
nope,
figure it out yourself.
Good luck.
We're not gonna give you the secrets of the trade. But we were at a point where we literally,
I could not keep up.
We couldn't print all of our own T-shirts. We heat press transfers and all the stuff. We just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And we reached out to Granger and Parker and Tyler, and they straight up invited us down to their warehouse and let us tour everything. And basically any questions we had, because you wouldn't believe how hard it is to get good quality hats in today's market. Like Richardson hats are the best in the business, I feel like. You can't get them. And so there's just all these different companies that they've helped us, they've put us in connection with or things. And it's just been a crazy wild ride. But, you know, as far as starting out a business, like I feel like we were like, hey, let's start a merch company. And let's just hit this little button that says keep selling when out of stock.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. But I say that, but I feel like that's what taught us.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Like it was literally like somebody turned on a fire hydrant and said, here, get a drink. You know, and we learned so much so fast, and not just about the merch business, but about business and shipping and labels and printing and all the postal stuff and packaging and what to do. And, you know, even all the way down to now, we've started including M.I. Gardner seeds in all of our packages. A free packet of seeds with a little coupon code on there. And that, you know, that helps out. I mean, it's good for us because you guys are getting, you know, free seeds. And it's just a little freebie that we throw in there. But it helps out another business. Luke is a good friend of ours at M.I. Gardner. And it helps him out, you know, and just little tricks of the trade. And we've learned so much in such a short amount of time.
Yeah. And it's so fun. Like I love getting to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I just love it. And then when people send us pictures or whatever, we're out in public and see, you know, someone wearing our stuff, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know?
It's crazy. And like now where do we go from, here's the thing. I understand, like, there's only so many T-shirts we're going to sell that just has Arms Family Homestead logo. And that was where the Creek Life, you know, like this is a Creek Life hat. Like that's kind of that was like an evolution of the merch thing. Like where are we going to go with that? Because like Granger doesn't sell Granger Smith T-shirts. He sells Yee shirts because there's a a meaning behind that. Like at concert, we went to a concert one time and he talked about what ye means, and it's just a broad appeal. So you're not going to sell t-shirts in boutique stores that say Arms Family Homestead. That doesn't mean anything to people. So that was the Creek Life kind of was just something we're testing out and trying out to see if we can actually start a brand that could stand on its own without us pushing it on YouTube.
Right.
And we're not there yet, but it's a neat process to learn, you know. And working from home in our garage, I just feel like it's been such a crazy ride. Like we built this storyline around it to make it mean something to you guys, and you guys blessed us in return.
Yeah, so much.
So much. And we're not just talking about money. We're not just talking about income, but we are talking about business and growing a business and the things we've learned. Like, it's just insane.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, you know, like I had to block a guy on Facebook the other day because you get all these private messages and this guy's like, he's been on me for a while about things like you're gonna this is all gonna fall apart, YouTube's gonna fall apart, you're gonna be back on the streets as a cop soon. I don't even know why he cares that much to even tell me all this stuff. You know, I'm gonna move this so they can see Brooks a little bit more. She just got up, but I had to block him because he just kept getting more and more hateful. But here's the thing, yeah, YouTube could fall apart tomorrow, Facebook could fall apart, the video content things, but the lessons we've learned in starting our own businesses and working for ourselves, like I just can't imagine having to go back to a normal career when there's just unlimited possibilities of starting your own business and working for yourself, and the pride that you can take in knowing that you started something and it's grown because of the work you put into it. It's grown because of the things you've learned. It's so much different. It's such an incredible feeling. And I've encouraged people for years, start a side hustle. Mm-hmm. That's just your own small business. Start whatever it is, selling your artwork or paintings or mowing lawns or raking leaves. I mean, everybody needs their leaves raked up in the fall, you know, or babysitting, whatever it is, a side hustle. You just never know where it's going to take you.
I agree. You said it excellent.
Okay.
So now we'll get to our weekly email questions.
So DJ wants to do a segment every week on this little show that's questions from you guys that send in by email. She reads hundreds of emails.
A lot of emails. Mm-hmm.
And it's afhpodcast@yahoo.com. Mm-hmm. If you have a question. We're not going to guarantee it's going to get answered because there's hundreds, but we pick a few every week and answer them. So, first one from Paul. Are you a cook, and what do you cook? Well, I've shown him over the years. I cook.
I'm not talking about you.
I cook outside, and I cook in the house some. But
he did not cook prior to getting this pellet grill very often.
I cooked. It just wasn't great.
It wasn't good. No. Yes, I cook. I am the main cook, I would say, especially inside. I cook pretty much everything. Tacos is my favorite because I love some tacos. Lasagna, I do not buy boxed. I make that.
You cook a lot, and you make just about everything from scratch.
Yes.
I will say that.
Yeah,
I do. You've taught Emily to... She's more interested in the baking side of things. She's an excellent baker.
But
she bakes from scratch, too.
Yeah, I will say, though, I am not the mom that gets up and cooks breakfast for my kids. I never have been. They have access to cereal and oatmeal and all that good stuff. But Houston has recently started going in there and scrambling his own eggs in the morning. Very proud of my momming skills there. So, question number 2.
Alyssa says, how many siblings do y'all have?
Oh, you're not.
Brooks said 0. She has 0 siblings.
0.
Somebody should work on that.
Here,
Brooks wants siblings.
Here, you want to talk? You want to say hi? Can you wave? Can you wave at the camera? No?
Nope.
Okay, so siblings, my siblings. It's going to take me a second. So when my mom and dad were married, they had me and Dusty. That would be this one's little daddy. And then they got divorced. My dad remarried my stepmom, and she had 3 kids. She had Brandon, Shanae, and Taylor. And then they had one together, and that is Riley. Riley just turned 23, I think 23, in the fall. And then the other side, my mom married Kevin, which is my stepdad, and they had Katie. Y'all have seen Katie on here quite a bit. She's playing basketball now at Seminole State, and she is actually 10 months older than Weston. So technically I have 6 siblings plus me. I still have to count. I should know that number, but 6 plus me. Yep.
Mine's not near as complicated.
No, yours is not.
So, my parents, my dad was married a few times, and he had some kids. But between my mom and dad, I was the only child that they had together. My mom died in a car accident when I was 6 years old, so I was her only child. My dad was 40 years old when I was born, and he had a few kids earlier. They had a son and 2 daughters, and so I had 2 sisters and a brother. One of the sisters I never met until after my dad's funeral when I was 21 years old. They were never close. And then a brother and a sister that I grew up around, but they were a lot older than me. You guys have seen my brother on here a few times. He's an interesting character.
He's special, that one.
But so 3 half siblings.
Yeah.
And then I had a stepmom. My dad and my stepmom were never technically married. They lived together for 12 or 13 years. And she had older kids, so I had a stepbrother and a stepsister there. But that's close to Gary. Gary and I, he's my stepbrother. He actually, we've been pretty close throughout the years. But anyway, so no full siblings on my side.
Question number 3. I guess we're going to have to do this weekly deal, Ed, because I like your questions.
Ed Kirkpatrick.
Yeah.
Always slides a good question in, I guess.
Okay, so Ed's question is, why did we add on to the house instead of building a new house? Years ago, we did add on here, like in 2010.
Gemma came to say hi.
No, she's escaping Brooks. This house, the original part of the house is where Daniel grew up. It was a very small 2-bedroom.
2-bedroom, 1-bathroom log cabin.
Yes. And
it's in the middle of our property, in the middle of 110 acres.
Yes.
So my thoughts were, if it was on the edge, like on the corner of the property by the road, you could section off a couple acres, sell the house, build a new one. But then there's that whole thing of, I grew up in this house. This was home. Like, I was brought home as a baby here. And as a matter of fact, where we're sitting right here was where my dad passed away. We had a hospital bed in, what are you doing, Brooks? Got a hospital bed in this living room. That's where he passed away. So this house has a lot of history and a lot of memories for me personally.
Yeah. And so essentially, we didn't need another house on the property. And it would have cost us a lot more money to basically start over. So we just added on to what we had.
Yeah.
And
it just made a lot more sense for our family. It didn't make a lot of sense to build a whole new house on this property. And, you know, if it was, like I said, if it was on the edge, you could even rent it out or use it like an Airbnb home or something. But it's right in the middle of the property. It's still recording. My battery's about to go dead.
Okay.
So may have to change batteries in a minute.
And song of the week this week is Battle Belongs by Phil Wickham. I think that's how you pronounce that.
The battle belongs to you.
Don't sing.
I'm not a singer.
Don't sing, no. And I've had a lot of requests for me to sing these songs. Guys, I ain't singing on this camera. Ain't happening. No, I sing when I'm sitting on the beach or in my car. That is it.
So what was the song? The battle belongs to you?
Well, it's just called Battle Belongs. Yeah.
Oh, Battle Belongs.
Mm-hmm. By Phil Wickham.
It's a great song.
Great song. You gotta listen to it.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway.
So that'll wrap it up, I guess, right?
That'll wrap it up. As are you going?
No, go ahead.
As my papa always says, do your best.